What is there to say about 2022? This is my second time making a what I learned last year video. And for some reason, I feel this strange urge to start off these videos with a string of adjectives like 2022 was this, this, and this. But I feel like it's hard to come up with this big, all-encompassing, reflective, conclusive statement about the entire year. I guess what I will say about 2022 was my first year of real adulthood. I moved out of state, I got a job, I traveled, I made some new friends, I fell in love, I got my heart broken. I'm gonna say 2022 was a year of very high highs and very low lows, even though I feel like that's something you could say about most years. Here is what I learned in 2022. One of the bigger things that I realized, and this is not anything new, it's just something that I've recently been able to articulate, is that the biggest, most consistent conflict in my life is my desire to be successful and achieve my goals versus my desire to be a human being. I'm a person who's always wanted a lot of things and has always had very high expectations of themselves. I have a lot of interests and I have a lot of really big dreams, and those are dreams that require a large amount of effort and work and time and energy. They are things that I want so badly to achieve because they are related to my passions and things that I love. And I never feel like I'm making enough progress, and I never feel like there's enough hours in a day. And I never feel like I'm doing enough to work towards my goals, especially because my desire to achieve them is so great. But on the other hand, I want to be a fucking human being. You can't be an artist unless you live your life, you experience the world, you feel the full range of human emotions, you go out and you meet people and you step out of your comfort zone and you try new things and you travel, basically just doing things that makes me feel like I'm a person in my 20s living out my life in the big city. If it were up to me, I would literally be working all the time. I tried to do this in college and it didn't work out, and every time I try to do it, it never works, and that's because I get super depressed if I'm just sitting in front of a computer just doing shit all day long. Like, I need to leave my apartment and see the sun and socialize, because otherwise I'm literally not a human being, I'm a machine. And obviously the answer is that there is a balance between the two of these things, hence the term work-life balance. But I just feel like it's so hard for me to be happy with my balance because I just want to work all the time because I want things so badly. Which leads into my next point, which is the false sense of urgency that you feel in young adulthood. There's some pressure to achieve a lot of things at a young age. It feels like you're supposed to do everything and you're supposed to do it fast. And I know this isn't valid. Like, it doesn't matter what age you achieve a goal. But I, for some reason, cannot buy myself out of this thinking of I want to achieve everything and I want to achieve it now. And I think that's why I'm such a wannabe workaholic, even though I'm not, because I'm too mentally ill to actually be a workaholic. I'm trying to be at peace with where I am now in my career and in my life, especially because I am so young. But to be honest, I don't think I'm doing a very good job at it. In the vein of work and career related things, I got a work from home job when I moved to New York City. Work from home has some major pros and some major cons. Obviously, the convenience of working from home is unparalleled. And also, I get to travel. I can be wherever I want as long as I get my work done, and that's super fucking cool. But also, working from home kind of sucks. You just don't leave your apartment when you work from home, and that is so bad for people. You just don't get the socialization you need to maintain your sanity unless you actively make the effort to go out and do things and see your friends. And this is why I'm very grateful that I have roommates. At the very least, I have friends who are within an arm's reach. But yeah, it's happened to me many times where I'm like, oh, I haven't left my apartment in 3 days and I am not okay. There's something funny that happened. One thing I started doing was just going out and grocery shopping, literally just to leave the house. And I remember one time I was at Trader Joe's and I started talking to the cashier and he asked me, what do you do? And I'm like, oh, I work in social media. And I don't remember exactly how that conversation went, but somehow I went down this rabbit hole of how I don't feel like my job has a higher purpose. Like, my job doesn't ultimately end up helping people. Most people's jobs exist to help somebody else make more money. And of course you can argue that your job is adding value to people's lives, but it's usually at the expense of something else. So yes, I told a random Trader Joe's cashier about how I don't think my job contributes to the greater good. And I don't really know what I'm gonna do about that because I like my job. Again, it has afforded me a lot of flexibility that I'm eternally grateful for. That's why I like doing YouTube. I do actually feel like by making these videos that I am positively contributing to the world in some way, shape, or form. So my other job is being an actor. And this year, it just became more apparent to me than ever how exhausting it is and how much pressure it puts on me to have this job where I'm constantly on camera. I am constantly worried about the way that I look and also my health because it impacts my ability to perform. If you think about it, being an actor, being a performer, it's basically like being an athlete. You have to get up and deliver a performance at a high level, and that requires for you to be at peak physical condition, because if you're not feeling good, you won't perform your best. And if you don't look good, then everybody can see that. Constantly trying to be at your peak physical performance is a lot, especially especially because everything in the industry is so last minute. Like sometimes you book something and you're on a plane like less than 24 hours later. And especially because I care so much about the work that I do as an actor, because it is like an aspiration of mine and it's something that I really love. I really struggled with this past year. It's already really difficult when you don't feel great about the way that you look or the state of your body, but when it impacts your livelihood, and that is what's really hard about being a performer. Something else that I really struggled with this past year was craving novelty and stimulation and excitement. And that's part of the reason why I am an actor, so I can work on different projects. I'm not ever doing the same thing. And that's also why I live in New York City. There's so many exciting things happening here all the time. The problem is that I'm only really happy when I'm doing a lot of things. I'm the happiest when I am busy, when I have projects to work on, when I'm out and about, when I'm meeting new people, when I'm doing cool things. And it's like, duh, of course you're happiest when there's a lot of cool things going on in your life. I really struggle with downtime, even though these periods are completely necessary and I should be so grateful and relieved when I have them because I have an opportunity to reset, relax, catch up on whatever it is I need to catch up on, and I have an opportunity to take things slow and recharge. I really struggle to feel fulfilled during those times. I attribute a lot of this to mental illness. I am simply less depressed when I'm distracted because when my brain has a lot to play with, it doesn't have as much room for the sadness that I usually feel, which is probably why I like being so busy and stimulated. But I think also as a result of my depression, I need a lot of rest. I think depression causes me to burn myself out really quickly, especially because I'm such an emotional person. It just takes a lot out of me to feel the things that I feel on a regular basis. That is a really difficult thing to navigate, and I definitely felt that a lot this year. Let's shift gears into friendships. I'm extremely aware of the fact that it is very hard to make and maintain friendships as an adult. So I've always been somebody who's very good at reaching out to people and asking them to hang out and suggesting dates and times and activities. But I've realized there's a lot of people who will hang out with me if I put in that effort, but they don't put in the effort back. So if I text them and ask them to hang out, they will, but if I don't reach out to them first, then we will just never see each other. And I have no issues with being the person that reaches out, but I started asking myself why I am putting effort into people who are not putting effort in back. So yeah, it's cool that I'm somebody who will plan things with people, but I think I realized that I need to give that energy to people who deserve it. Basically, I've just become more selective of who I spend my time with because it's actually a really big deal, not only to plan something with someone, but actually follow through on those plans and then give them your time and your full attention just so that you can have this shared experience. I cannot express to you just the extent to which people are so fucking flaky. Something that happened last year that I thought was really interesting, when I moved to New York City, the first few months that I lived here, I felt better than I ever had in my adult life. I literally thought my depression was cured, which is like really saying something. It was crazy. I woke up every day so fucking happy and so grateful to be living in New York City, to be able to live the life that I live. I literally felt like I was on drugs. It did come to an end eventually, as you might expect, but I just didn't realize how fucking potent that feeling could be, and it really surprised me. Like, it was just so crazy to me, the concept of waking up and just genuinely feeling excited to start your day and do things. To somebody who's depressed, that is just the craziest thing you could ever think of. That was what I learned in 2022. This video is coming out a lot later than I wanted it to, in a way that is very ironic given the topic of my last video. I have been pretty depressed and going through some things. I'm grateful for 2022 and everything I learned and everything I experienced, and I'm curious to see how this year goes. The best part about hitting a low is that the only way to go is up. It's been a rough time. I hope your year started out a lot better than mine did, and I will see you again very soon.